Hello. Hey, Katie. How goes it? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I was gonna say, I let you through, but you might trip and fall.
Hello. Greetings.
Hello.
Timing. Hello, hello, hello.
Right, you got
Got it.
okay. All right, Andrew, welcome to our tab.
Well, welcome, welcome. I am finally here.
I usually see you at county commission.
Yes. And
Hi, Andrew.
I just wanted to make sure that somebody could be able to read the letter.
Yeah, I'll ask Councilmember Tuttle to
Okay.
read it.
Thank you.
And I have copies at all of the chairs, all the.
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're Welcome.
Yeah.
You might get that little button over there.
How's everything with you?
Good, good, staying busy, keep
Good.
busy as usual.
Hey, I was gonna ask you about, the, the, how, did you go to the Sunday deal?
Yes, I
man?
did.
How was,
So, my friend and I posted a response to that, and there were a couple things were like good, and a couple things were like. But
yeah,
I mean,
Well,
you couldn't ask for more, I mean, that was very happy all the time.
hey.
Good
So one of the
How are
big
you?
things
Good.
in
You?
this
Good.
letter
Good.
was,
So, hey, Mila,
You know,
how are you?
one of the
Hey,
things
Aaron, how are
to
you?
do in a way of upgrading our sidewalk and our,
Well, glad you're here, do you say it's kind of?
oh, yeah. Well,
I gotta run to start and get my jacket.
Yeah. that's proud. Jim's like, oh, I have done this so many times. What? Megan, I was gonna say,
Thanks for your email.
Oh, I don't feel like I was gonna say. Be careful.
You wouldn't go right.
How are you doing? I'm fine.
photo with me
I
and,
took it from my hair was
Yes.
position.
that,
I have a,
Did you get a,
yeah,
okay, make my car. I didn't figure it out.
I gotta get a photo with me and, Becky Tuttle. If she's here. Council. They say, the Assets Advisory Board wants me to document each one.
I'm gonna see if I can run it.
Well, let someone else leave.
Yeah, when I go up there and speak, if he can take a snapshot. Here we go. All we have to do is-
It says organizations really from a business owner.
Andrew, could you come and talk with Councilman Tuttle?
Yeah, I don't think I can read this in the room. We can put it in the minutes, but I mean, it's not from anyone.
What?
It's the letter that you want me to read. It's not
It's-
from anyone, so
It's
it
the,
says sincerely organization, business owner, patron.
that's the one, it would be this one,
Did you want me to read this out loud?
yeah. Because that's the one that, the District 5 read and also District
Okay.
3.
This one.
He's
passed you. This.
As long as you promise not to trip and fall.
Yeah,
As long as what?
Thank
Well,
you.
Promise not to trip and fall.
Lost, ma'am.
and how are you?
I'm okay.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm glad to hear it.
You know, I'm moving and a shaking, you know. Moving.
So of course, I'm watching the video last night. Where the- oh,
Okay.
Our favorite topic.
Of course. You do, I've been up there for a while. Would you know when it is? April's going, so it's just Bonnie Gray.
Do what?
April's 21st is the Bonnie Gray. Oh, well, I sent her report to that. We could send that report out about this. I can do that. I don't know. I got some surprises. Okay, that's it. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Perfect timing. Yeah, good. Yes. Actually.
You know, how's it going?
I don't care if you're lying or not, just.
What'd you check out? Yeah. You know, last one?
A tablet?
Yeah.
With friends and
All
of
Let's make sure you have the video from the last meeting.
No, I was gonna try to get, because they couldn't keep it last time.
I said.
Let me see if I can.
No, I'll send you the link again.
YouTube, and it was Kansas, found KFH at Summerfest.
Yeah, it's on. For jazzy music.
I know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So very good, but it's good sign.
So. Teresa.
Mhm. We have Tracy and Leila and Stephanie.
Do it for.
Yeah, okay, 5:59.
Yeah.
Yeah, or that, or. Okay, so we have to go on. No.
Is that what you're here for?
No, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We have. I mean.
Yeah.
It was hard. A long time ago. I don't know what. All right.
Mhm.
Are you ready to roll?
Yes, we are.
So ready?
Yeah.
Are we ready? All right, good evening. Good evening. I am Becky Tuttle, and it is my privilege and honor to serve on Wichita City Council representing District 2. Welcome to the District Advisory Board meeting at 6 p.m. on Monday, March 9th, 2026. We're in the community room at the beautifully renovated Rockwell Hotel. If you are coming to us for the first time tonight, I hope you'll get a chance to look around before you go. And there's big wooden chairs over by the front window, and I call them the big huggy squishy chairs, but they're absolutely wonderful. So grab a coffee, yep, John, you'll confirm that when you come up. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. The first thing that we do in District 2 is we like to introduce all of our District Advisory Board members, and we have them say their favorite thing about Wichita, but they can't repeat what another board member has said this evening, okay? So who do I like tonight? I think I'll start with Jim.
That's good. Jim Groff, which was too, right? And I like, in the first few study, HOA, like, on 27 here. And, tonight, my most favorable thing is I was happy in a look at the mayor's state of Wichita address last week. I think that went quite enough.
Kate Martin, I represent East Ridge Neighborhood Association, and my favorite thing about Wichita right now is, how civically engaged everyone is. I'm an election worker, so I get really excited and lots of people can vote, so that's my favorite thing about Wichita.
I'm Tony Johnson. Represent the Willowbend neighborhood. Yeah, right, sure. My favorite thing about Wichita right now is WSU's men's basketball.
I'm Teresa Veazey. I'm your community services representative, and my favorite thing about Wichita is girls swimming at Wichita East High. Go Blue Aces.
My name is Aaron Miller. I represent the Bonnie Bray Homeowners Association. And my favorite thing about Wichita right now is just how giving the community is for nonprofits, for local trust.
My favorite thing about
Bruce Gas, I represent, Susan Creek HOA. And, I've been having some good experiences talking to KDOT, so I'm gonna say that KDOT's not really a thing about Wichita right now.
Okay, I'll make sure my friend they paid out. No, they'll be thrilled. Yeah, I know. That was, yeah, I'm sure that the Secretary of KDOT has never heard of it. That's to say everything about
Send
Wichita.
me her number.
I will, I mean,
Tell Facebook.
that's crazy. Okay, we do have 3 district advisory board members who are joining us virtually, so thank you. Hope y'all are well. And make sure that if you have comments or you want to chime in and we don't see your hand raised, just feel free to jump on. But how about we start with Tracy?
Hey, good evening. Tracy Adams, representing the Harrison Park community. And disclaimer, since I really couldn't hear everyone that well, I may repeat what has been said, but you can't deny the beautiful weather for today. And yes, so I don't know if that's already been said, but that's what I'm loving about Wichita right now.
Thank you. How about Stephanie?
Hi, I'm Stephanie McCurdy. I represent the Hawthorne subdivision. And my favorite thing about Wichita will always be our airport. Fantastic. And our people are doing a great job getting people in and out.
And it still has that new car smell.
Yes, it does. With the glass.
We were the first airport in the nation to have the glass jetways. And I tell everyone when they're coming or going, if they're not from Wichita, even if they are, make sure that you take a moment to enjoy them. Sometimes we just take them for granted. Other communities across the nation have come to see ours. They are hard to cool, they're hard to heat, but they're definitely worth the maintenance. So great job, Stephanie. Mila.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mila Burrell. I am a homeowner in the Brentwood Village community. And my favorite thing about Wichita this time around is the zoo. Try to get out there as much as I can. And with the weather getting nicer, we will be taking a trip.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. And Teresa, we can keep on first, can't join us. I think everybody who's not here has told us what, right? So we have 8 of 11, so we should have quorum. Wonderful. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the approval for this evening's agenda for March 9th, 2026. As always, Teresa did a fantastic job. Hopefully everybody's had an opportunity to review this evening's agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So, I have a question.
Yep, first.
Are any of you supposed to talk about the sirens?
I think we sent you an email regarding the sirens and your questions.
Yes, but I just wondered if it was going to be brought up publicly. That's all.
No, but we can do it for next month if you would like.
Okay.
Or we
just-
can revisit the email that was sent if you want that during.
I read that, I appreciate that, and it looks great, but I just wondering if somebody's going to address it. Not, if not, don't worry about it.
Okay,
I'll go on with the second.
okay, thank you, thank you. And if you want during the last item of updates, issues and reports, we can even have a discussion then.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody's still good with the agenda for this evening? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone dreadfully opposed to the agenda, please say nay. Passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes from January 14th, 2026. We did not have a February meeting, so very long time ago. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from January 14th? Any corrections or additions?
Thank you for this.
Yes, thank you, Teresa, for doing a great job. All those in favor, I would entertain a motion to approve. Jim?
Second.
Jim, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Pass.
Say-
What?
I say-
Okay, so Teresa, we have Bruce and Aaron and Tom.
Mhm.
Everybody else is good. Okay. So that would be 5. There's okay. We'll move forward. All right, so is there anyone here this evening, and Andrew, we've got you as off agenda items, so not you, but is there anyone who is here this evening who would like to discuss an issue that isn't on this evening's agenda? All right, we will proceed. Next, we have Andrew Crane has requested, oops, I did that on the first one. Andrew, ensuring access for everyone. Andrew, is this one you would like for me to read?
Yes.
Okay. I've been asked to read this on behalf of Andrew Crane. And Andrew, we'll have you introduce yourself in a moment when I'm done and your favorite thing about Wichita State.
Yes.
Okay. So dear advisory board member, greetings. I am reaching out to discuss an opportunity to collaborate on making your organization or business as well as the Wichita Sedgwick County community more accessible. While I am a member of the Wichita Sedgwick County Access Advisory Board, please note that I am contacting you today as a private citizen. Members of our community with disabilities work hard to support local businesses and organizations by shopping and attending events. However, many encounter challenges related to transportation, safe building access, and online accessibility for purchasing goods and services. These difficulties have increased in Wichita, especially following the $4.9 million project intended to create more walkable downtown. The Wichita Sedgwick County Access Advisory Board has engaged with city and county leadership about these concerns, noting that recent projects do not fully comply with the public right-of-way accessibility guidelines or best practices. Key issues include the absence of audible pedestrian signals, inconsistent curb cuts, and sidewalks that are not safely traversable. The success of downtown businesses depends on the support of all patrons, whether through ticket purchases, event attendance, goods or services. Accessibility is crucial for maximizing patronage. It's important to note that over 25% of the U.S. population identifies as having a disability. I am requesting that your business or organization send a letter referencing the Wichita Sedgwick County Access Advisory Board, the city and county leadership. The letter should ask for recent downtown two-way conversion projects to address the accessibility issue described above. Specifically, it should request a review and update of curb ramps, installation of audible pedestrian signals and affected intersections, and a commitment that all future street sidewalks work to comply with the public right-of-way accessibility guidelines and best practices recommended by the Federal Department of Transportation and Institute of Traffic Engineers. Including a discussion of the economic consequences of limited accessibility may also be helpful. A template letter and contact list of the Wichita Sedgwick County leadership, which is also provided, are available for your use. I am happy to provide more information regarding these issues and this request. Thank you in advance for your attention and support of this effort. Andrew Crane, and he provides his mobile number and his email. Teresa, will these be entered into the minutes for the record? All right, thank you, Andrew. With that, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, well, my name's Andrew Crane and I'm with Guiding Cause ICT, supporting the blind and low vision community and the disability community. And today I am here on to talk about accessibility and sidewalks and curb cuts and let you guys know that if you walk in downtown Wichita, yes, we do have the push buttons in certain areas, but we don't have them in all areas. And even the one ways that they did with Topeka, let's see, Topeka, St. Francis, and Market and Maine now are not they don't have the push buttons and that. So that's one thing that I wanted to address to you guys. Another thing is, creating a more access and making sure our sidewalks are accessible to the disability community, even folks in wheelchairs, and stuff. And I have a big heart for the disability and blind community, and I will stand with everybody and make sure that the city is following the ADA guidelines and making sure that this gets done. And I would love for your guys' support And businesses, if you guys own a business or, you know, write that letter. Because we would love to, your support, and I would love to see a bunch of letters going to to the city council. And Becky Tuttle already knows this, and I've been knocking on doors left and right, and that. So I am encouraging you guys to step up to the plate and write those letters. Thank you very, very much.
Any questions for him? Andrew, I just want to thank you for your passion, for your commitment, for your consistency. We see you at City Hall all the time, and really just thank you for all you do to keep what you're doing on the forefront for all of us. My husband works at Envision, and so every day I hear stories about the blind and visually impaired and the struggles and challenges that they face every day.
Yep.
So thank you for what you do. You did forget to tell us your favorite thing about Wichita, Andrew.
Well, my favorite thing about Wichita and going back, way back, is probably the keeper. And that, I mean, it's so iconic to Wichita. And then when you fly over Wichita and you see Century 2, that lets you know that you're in Wichita, Kansas. And that, but I love the keeper.
Okay.
And you know that stands tall for Wichita.
Well, thank you, Andrew. You're a keeper too.
Yes.
All right, we are gonna go to staff reports, and we're gonna start with the Wichita Police Department. And we have Officer Malloy, right? We traded. Sorry, my bad. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Good.
The papers? You can have them. All right. Well, I'm also Phil Berger. I'm with Patrol East Community Policing. So I'm going to just kind of touch base. You want me to talk about what I like about Wichita?
I would love for you to tell us your favorite thing.
So I'm not from Wichita. I grew up in Indiana. Was in the military, came here.
Thank you.
Planted roots here. I think my favorite thing about Wichita, and I think it's so ironic, is how storms just, when they come towards Wichita, they just break apart. And then we never really seem to get hit by storms like I'm used to from Indiana. So I just think it's very peculiar. So that's kind of what I love. Yeah. Because I think it's supposed to be that tomorrow. So I want to start with some statistics. So our statistics are broken down to part 1 violent, and then it goes down to part 1 property. And so for the DAP 2 area, our part 1 violent crime shows an increase of 50%. That's not alarming because like if we have 2 cases 1 month and then 2 cases the next month, obviously it's going to show a really steep increase in those specific types of cases. It's not alarming, so don't get too alarmed with the 50%. Part of those increases are aggravated assaults with a firearm. I'll touch base on those in just a second. So where we are from this month and then compared to last year, we're actually down 20%. So that's pretty good. So we're down in a downward trend for as far as crime goes in part 1 violent. And then for part 1 property, we're down 4%, and then total of 12% compared to last year. So looking pretty good as far as crime statistics go. So I want to touch base about the aggravated assaults. There were 8 of them total, which was part of that 50% increase. I know I'm kind of getting into the weeds, but 4 of those cases were cleared. And they were cleared by either a suspect was arrested. We either have an uncooperative victim, and four were cleared, one was arrested, and then we had one uncooperative victim. And then another one was cleared by the death of an offender. That last one where the death of offender was domestic violence related. And it happened in the 1400 block of South Greenwich. It made the news. And so I wanted to briefly on domestic violence. We see a lot of those cases throughout the year. This one specifically. If you know someone that's going through domestic violence, please urge them to reach out to us. That way we can help get them some resources. And we also have a 24/7 number you can call if you don't feel comfortable talking to the police. The number is 1-800-799-7233. And you can talk to somebody on the hotline there. Don't feel comfortable talking to police, and maybe they can get you in touch with some other resources. Yeah, it's just it's shame that we seem to have those types of cases. But obviously I wanted to provide some resources on to help with that. Some other quick tips. As far as the aggravated assaults, be aware of your surroundings. We see people that just kind of just go through the motions and they just go from here to there. They're just not being, conscious of the surroundings. So be conscious of your surroundings. If you feel like something is suspicious, please call 911. If you're driving, go to the nearest substation and then call 911. A lot of these we're seeing like road rage incidents. And so if you feel like something like that's going on, call us or drive to a nearest substation. Some of them also, we see them a lot where a buyer or seller is selling stuff on Facebook. Some things to keep in mind, obviously do that in some place that's safe. Go to a substation if you want to buy or sell something. If the buyer or seller is unwilling to meet you in a safe location, it's probably a red flag. It's probably somebody you don't want to buy or sell to. So just keep that in mind. So pass that along. It's not a problem. You see it often. People, they will buy and sell stuff at the substations. It's a public place. So if you feel safe by doing that, we encourage you to do that. We are actively working 2 RTM locations. That's risk terrain modeling. And it's 2 locations within Patrol East where we had increased in violent crime in a specific location. RTM basically it's focusing on an area and not people. So for example, like convenience stores, liquor stores, places that we've identified that, is kind of inviting to crime per se. And so we focus on those locations, not the people, and addressing those situations to help drive the violent crime in those areas down. So we're currently working those 2 locations out of Patrol East. We don't have the statistics because we're not finished with that operation yet. So hopefully we'll have those statistics somewhere around June timeframe, hopefully. We have 7 probationary police officers going through FTO right now at Patrol East. I hear that they're doing really well, so that's really good. They've got 2 months to go till they complete it, so it's a 4-month program once they graduate the academy. So it's a very intensive thing, getting them up to speed. That way they can be self-sufficient solo officers when they get off of FTO. I think we still currently have 39 recruits in this current academy class. So when I went through the academy back in 2014, we had 23 of us. So to have a class of 39 is really, really impressive. That's they've got their hands full with 39 up there. So let's hope they do well. I did speak with training. I think they're all doing really well. So yeah, that's all I have. If anybody has any questions for me. Sir.
So did you move here in 2014?
No, in 2010 I did. Yeah.
You said you're long enough to see some storms roll through Wichita then.
Yeah, but I mean, and my wife, she brought up, she's like, just watch this, how this just goes around the city. It's so perplexing. Not all of them, but you know, and I like storms, and so when you're like, oh, there it goes, in order, you know, way east of us. So I don't know, I just think it's perplexing. So
We didn't do it till you guys were so close.
yeah, you're welcome.
Bruce and then Faith.
Sorry, Faith, you wanna go first? Um, can you give us a little update about the homeless situation? What is it, you know?
You know, that's not within my wheelhouse. I'm not part of the homeless outreach team, so I don't want to give a lot of stuff that I'm not like, you know, I don't really know a lot of information about.
Let's just say in your beat.
You know, what I see primarily out east is probably are unhoused at the intersections that hold signs for whatever. We do have a city ordinance that prohibits them from stepping into the street to facilitate a transfer, whether it be money or food or anything like that. It's also an ordinance that we can actually ticket the person as well, so the driver of the vehicle, for also facilitating that transfer. And so
yeah, I know, but
yeah, it basically just stops traffic, you know, and so I would never do that, but I mean, a lot of them, you know, I don't know their backgrounds. I have ran into a lot of them that the stuff on their sign isn't necessarily true. For example, you know, a lot of them claim to be veterans, not necessarily true. And so, you know, we have signs that, you know, we want real change, not spare change. So you're not really helping them by giving them money. A lot of them have vices and bad habits, and you're just kind of helping facilitate that. So, and a lot of them, you know, they don't want the help or resources. So, you know, I don't know. That's kind of what I see is, you know, a lot of people, they complain about, you know, the unhoused at the intersections, and, you know, they also, when they get stuff, they just leave that trash behind. And so it just accumulates trash and it becomes an eyesore. So that's kind of what I see on a community policing side and the patrol. But yeah.
And we tend to see more housed, invisible, if you will, in the warmer months. They're
Yeah.
less likely to go to shelter because their safety isn't as much of an issue. So I know Farm Road had issues with camping behind. Boston Park and different ways. So if you see anything come up, please let me know right away. We'll be the homes outreach team out there that help connect them to resources, housing vouchers, let them know about the sheltering opportunities, the Mobile Agency Center. So if you see anytime, anytime I'm good, but it's not uncommon to see more homeless residents than that's good.
Yeah, there's one individual that we ran off from Kellogg and Armour and got into a Mercedes. So
that probably wasn't his car though, right?
you know, I don't know, but I mean that's
So if somebody leaves a trash area in that situation, do you call somebody?
you know, usually if we contact somebody, we encourage them to pick their mess up. So can't force them. Yeah. So
So you had mentioned the substation, and this is a question that actually came up in our neighborhood association, specifically around domestic violence and, like feeling unsafe, having a place to go. Is the substation front lobby open after that? Can people go there if they don't feel safe?
no, it's closed. You can't like walk in like you can during like the normal business hours. In that case, we would just encourage you to call 911, let them know, hey, I'm at police, I'm in an officer here. Usually there may be one at the station already that can just be right there and walk through the station and meet him outside. So I wouldn't necessarily, if it being closed, you're like, okay, well, I can't come here because there's nobody here. I can't think of any substation that doesn't have an officer that's either working on a report or at the station. So I would still encourage you to go there outside of normal business hours if you need help or you need to call 911, because we can be there relatively quickly.
Okay, and then we said the risk grade modeling, I know one is in our neighborhood because of the doesn't list up.
Mhm.
Can we have a you or someone come out and talk about that in TV for the neighborhood?
Absolutely, yeah. I just don't, our crime analysts, they will put like a final report on kind of like everything that, like what was done and the decreases and if there were any. And they will compile all of that stuff that way we can have kind of like a polished report and give you, no, and give you like all of the information and potential questions that you may have, we can answer them.
That include like the gunshot detectors that were installed there as well, because I know that wasn't necessarily part of it, but I think people really data on that.
I don't think that will be involved. Now, if it generated a case, it could be. I don't know, and I don't want to speculate. So I'm not 100% sure if that is included in those statistics or not. It's usually officer self-initiated activity and or case numbers that's generated that's going to provide those statistics, if that makes sense.
I think the question I'm asking is people are wanting to know is the cost of those detectors, are we seeing enough data to support that? And if that's not you, who would I put people to?
I would probably
Besides.
I know Captain Purcell was up there and left. I would maybe reach out to maybe Captain Moses.
Okay.
He would probably be my go-to person for that information because Captain Purcell retired and left. And so I would email Moses and Captain Moses.
We're gonna finish with questions from the board first, if that's okay, and then we'll go out to the end.
I appreciate that, because I know there's like, drones and this and that and the other, and I think people, I know there's a portal, but I think people want to see like hard data on
Yeah,
that stuff.
and-
So that's great, thank you.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a report that would come from me. I just don't
Yeah,
have
no,
that
I
kind of
totally
data.
get it.
So yeah.
And then she's been a district of Tracy, Nora, Stephanie, any questions for officer? Seeing none, questions from the community? Yes, sir.
Yeah, it seems to me that in recent years, there are many vehicles with louder engines on the streets. And, I'm sure there's a noise ordinance that's being violated. Is the Wichita Police Department doing anything to address it?
So we can, it's basically complaint driven. So if you're seeing it, you'll have to call 911 because usually they're kind of out of the area by the time we get those calls that come from 911. And so they're really hard to kind of tackle, if that makes sense. Because by the time we get it, we dispatch and it comes out. But if you know where they live, you can always reach out to community policing officer. We can kind of delve into that more deeply than a patrol officer can. But the quickest answer is you'll have to call 911 if it's bothersome. Right then when it's happening, give a good description of the caller. If you get a tag, that's always helpful.
I know I see police officers out on motorcycles giving motorists speeding for this. And it seems like, noise ordinance.
If they hear it, they can stop them, but like to do speed detection, but you know, they're there and they do the gun. If somebody goes by and they're being nosy, they could stop them, but what happens usually, because I've had a few of these, is, you know, Bruce will call the police and say, "Party's behind by my house," and I will hear that by the time police get there, the 30 miles down the road, right? So if it's happening in a neighborhood, we did have one neighborhood where it was, no discrimination. He was a teenager who was, you know, having fun and always being noisy. And we had police come and we talked about it, their HOA, and they were able to then go talk to the family and tell these police. So if I can be of help, if you need police or need to come, but it is very challenging if you feel it and then, you know, they drive away and you call, they're gone by the time police get there.
And A96 between 13 and 24%.
Yeah.
You know, downhill.
I will just say that if it's a new neighborhood, we had that happen in our neighborhood, and we want more people to engage with our neighborhood association, so we invited them to a meeting and got to talk to people, and I think people's angry feelings about once or twice a day this car kind of left because we got to know our neighbors. So if it's someone in your neighborhood, I would look towards that first because sometimes it's not out of malice or anything.
I'm not pointing the finger at kids and young guys, I'm pointing the finger at truck drivers, motorcyclists. You know,
Yeah, and
every day.
yeah, I understand your frustration, and sometimes these are just kind of hard for us to tackle when you call 911 and they're not.
You need a DB meter and.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it true that there is a noise ordinance? A volume level? Okay.
And not every police car has one of the,
Yeah,
like, what do they call it?
the decibel reader.
Thank you.
We don't typically carry those. But I think the ordinance is written that if it's disturbing the peace, and we can make a case for you for that. It helps us if you can get it on recording. Actually cited a homeowner for playing loud music well into the evening. She actually had it on recording on her phone as she was standing on her porch. And so I was able to use that to cite the neighbor for violating the noise ordinance. So everything helps us. So if you can get recording, of it, call us and make a case. And you usually take it from there.
Any other questions from the board? Yeah. Any other questions from the board? Okay, Mark.
As a follow-up to the earlier question about citing unhoused people, either receiving gifts of money or whatever, are you actually enforcing, are you aware of any kind of enforcement going on either in the beat or citywide? Or is this something that's actually being enforced?
I can't say for the officers what they do on a day-to-day basis. I know that from a policing, community policing standpoint, that is some things that we tackle. It's not all the time. But if we have the opportunity to either first do some education, we like to do that first. Typically, we see the same person, and the one person that we've ticketed probably 6 times is in the same spot. We can ticket and ticket and ticket, but until they want to change, I really don't know how effective us just continually giving them tickets. I think that's kind of where we can maybe do some education to the general public that, I know it may go against your moral generosity, but continuously giving money or things to people is just kind of contributing to the problem, and it's not helping the problem per se. So maybe just some little encouragement, it may just go against your heart, but to drive by and not give them money and stuff like that. But I think if they're not receiving that type of stuff in a general location, they may move, maybe to another one. I don't know.
And I'm wondering if it might be more effective if issue warnings to those actually giving the gifts of money, if those not that you want to be doing that, but it might be more effective if we had that off at the pass instead of punishing those who are already being punished.
Yeah, and coming from a policing standpoint, that would be really hard for me to do because, I'd be ticketing somebody for just being a generous person, not necessarily knowing what they're doing is illegal. Maybe warning them, but I think if we can push out maybe something with the city, I don't know, maybe like a public something to, let them know of the ordinance versus us stopping every generous person. I wouldn't like to do that. I wouldn't like to be on the receiving end of that. But yeah, it is. Yeah.
I just want to point out 2 things. 1-800-799-7233 for domestic violence assistance,
Yeah.
correct? Is that right?
1-800-799-7233.
Yep. And then I think the best pro tip, if you're gonna do Facebook Marketplace or whatever, meet somewhere in public and not at your home.
Yeah, a quick trip,
The library.
a library,
Yeah.
preferably someplace that has cameras. Quick Trip has really good cameras. But like I said, if someone's unwilling to meet in the same place, I would not do that deal.
Thank you.
You're
for
welcome.
Service to our country.
Yes,
Thank you
my
for your
pleasure.
service to our city.
Thank
Be
you very much.
safe. Come
Thank
back
you.
anytime.
I'll be whenever you need me.
Any sort of happen never blame him. Next, we have Wichita Fire Department, Wichita's bravest. We have Battalion Chief Robertson. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me, Councilwoman Tuttle.
Just Becky.
Board, nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. It'll be included in the minutes.
Okay, very good.
And favorite thing about Wichita today?
The people. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretty quiet. February was quiet in District 2, which is good. Only 2 reportable fires. One was a vacant structure, and the other was an accidental by the homeowner with a warning fire back there. So I'm just gonna a few highlights for the particular to the fire department that we have going on right now. If no one in the room's aware, our fire chief, Chief Tammy Snow, is retiring after almost 40 years of service to the city of Wichita. So a national search will shortly be taking place to find a replacement for her. So congrats to her on her new chapter. We have a new station very close to being built in the southwest part of Wichita. It's at Mays and Pawnee. I think we're close to breaking ground, waiting for the bids, and I think it's a 52-week process to get it up and running once they break ground.
I'm gonna take a point of privilege and just jump in if I can.
Absolutely.
Chief Snow and I, and then also IFF President Bush and I, have been working on the culture of wellness within the fire department initiative. I'm gonna give it there, we have about 484 commissioned firefighters depending on, if we have retirements or people leaving. And when we started our pilot project for cancer screenings, we were hoping if we could get 30 firefighters to take their screenings, we'd be really lucky then. I think we're over 300. We have identified over 15 cases of cancer that would have gone otherwise undetected among Wichita firefighters. But some of the other things that we're doing is redefining how we look at our fire stations and how they're being built. So this new station will be the first pilot, if you will, prototype for having a more sophisticated decontamination process for when firefighters come in off the truck. And we toured other fire stations that do this so that we can learn from what others are already doing. Otherwise, they're just taking all the parts and engines they brought from where they were and they're taking them into their sleeping quarters and community room. The other thing for the first time is we're gonna have individual sleeping quarters. My profession before this was public health, and sleep hygiene is something that's incredibly important. Not getting proper consistent sleep contributes to every chronic disease. And firefighters suffer from chronic disease more than the general population, partly because of sleep habits. And then we're also going to, for the first time, pilot a lighting system that's different for how firefighters are awakened. Not everybody in the station needs to potentially be awakened. And then also if you are awakened to a blue light instead of a red light.
You know a lot more than me.
Okay. It brings you into a more conscious state so that when you hit the truck, you're able to go out and be better, but then also when you go back to sleep later. So, we're going to be building another station on the west side of town, and then in about 3 years, station 18, that is at Harvard and Webb will be replaced by your friends at KDOT when they expand to K96. And so we know of 3 stations that are being built within the next few years. And so this will be the first pilot, and then we hope if it's successful, future stations will not only include the functionality of fighting fires, but also incorporate wellness. Sorry, I'm putting on myself.
No, that was
Please go.
great.
I'm
yeah,
a little bit passionate about this project,
Sure.
in case you can.
There's been a little rumor swirling that station is over budget already, and I spoke
It
to
was,
the
but
fire
we
chief.
approved it last week because we
Spoke to her this
knew
morning.
the
It is
reason
not
it's
over
over
budget.
budget is because of the wellness initiatives.
So.
So.
Wichita Fire Department's going through a new promotional process. Candidates took a written test last week and we'll move on to assessment centers in the month of April. So we'll have a new batch of lieutenant candidates and captain candidates to move up in the ranks. Wichita Fire Department storage facility is almost open. It's in the south part of the city. It's gonna be a central location that we can store gear, equipment, supplies, apparatus, all that stuff. We have to kind of pick firehouse. As it goes now, we have to pick firehouses and that stuff scattered all over the city. The mold mitigation. It is going well. City really stepped up and is doing a good job. Station 15 is the big one. I believe it will go back online Wednesday. And then they'll move on to a few other stations. But they're doing a real good job of getting that taken care of. And the last thing I have is change the clocks this last weekend. So hope you change your smoke detector batteries. I have not yet. So I'm guilty of that, but I'll stand for questions. Yeah, I'll stand for questions if anybody has any.
Any questions? Just revise report. Just glad to have them back. That's really, really good.
The effective response time a real tiny bit, but I promise you not very much. And on your DV stuff, there's fire stations all over with big fellas. So if anybody feels unsafe, but station. You know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Truly appreciate all you do. Stay safe. John with Public Library. John, while you're up here, walking up here and thinking about what your favorite thing about Wichita, would you also maybe in like 30 seconds, just every time I always have you do this, but we have new guests again this evening, just like the elevator pitch about all the beautiful units in Rockwell. And just so y'all know, Rockwell is actually not in District 2. District 2 is the only district in the city that does not have a library. Bitter, table for one, bitter. But this is so close to the border of District 2 that most people think this is a District 2. So we are adopted. But I always say that this library, Rockwell, is the only Santa-friendly library because it's the only library with a
Fireplace.
So yeah. So favorite thing about Wichita, a little bit about Rockwell enhancements, and then your report that will also be added to the minutes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Cleary. I am the manager here at Rockwell Ridge Library. Favorite thing about Wichita is all of the diverse restaurants that we have available to. I got to go to copies yesterday of the Peruvian restaurant in Farmington Center. Blown away. I'm never gonna make it to Peru, but that's fine. So, and all kinds of Italian, and so just a lot of great opportunities without having to travel outside the city limits. So, yeah, as Becky said, we had remodel recently, so welcome those of you that will have not been in the library since we have remodeled. In addition to the green huggy chairs with Becky runs, which are, by the way, located on the north side of the library. Really good windows with great view of 9th Street and the park. We also have new furniture, new paint, new carpet, new lights. It's 50% brighter here. We added 7,000 square feet in our model. That includes this meeting room, which doubled in size. Our staff area is doubled in size. The showrooms area is doubled in size. We also have a team area we never had before, with special place for them and special collections. We also have the functional electric fireplace now. So not only does our entryway look like a company living room, we have functional heater in our electric fireplace now. We also have a drive up. We have a new drive right along the east side of the building where you can drop off new materials or pick up durables and materials. You can have your vehicle. So we've got lots of great amenities, brand new parking lot. We're really excited about it. So bring all of your library service needs here.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay, so here's what's happening in March for the library. We are going mostly cashless. And what that means is your Wichita Public Library has decided to no longer keep cash or credit card terminals at staff service points. And that was effective last Monday, March 2nd. And this is to simplify operations and focus more on helping customers access library materials. Payments will now take place online via the library's catalog or at a self-service point with a mix of payment method options. and those include cash and credit card options available at the printing and public computer reservation stations, as well as our 4 self-check machines. Also, pardon me, credit card only payment options will be available at the online catalog, so you can do that from home. Also, the drive-up window at the Advanced Learning Library and Alfred, Rockwell, and West Oak Branch libraries will maintain credit card terminal for our drive-up customers. Cash only payment options are available at our photocopy stations, so we ask you to bring that correct coins and bills for that. If you don't, you can always put the amount of the library card and you can pay that on. So visit wichitalibrary.org to learn more about this phone mostly cashless, both improved services and access to all of our community. The Pokemon Club, the American Library Association and the Pokemon Company have partnered to bring Pokemon Club to libraries across the nation. This includes Wichita Public Library. Students can level up their essential cognitive, academic, and social emotional skills in a fun and engaging manner. Through activities like deck building, puzzle solving, and collaborative game play, students can practice strategic thinking and problem solving, math and reading comprehension, communication, teamwork, and empathy skills. The Advanced Learning Library will host Pokemon Club for 2 different age groups, youngsters age 6 to 11, and trainers age 11 to 14. So each kid can learn and connect with fellow Pokemon fans of similar age. The first session of Pokemon Club for the trainers group takes place on Friday, March 13th, from 4 to 5:30 p.m., while the youngsters' first session is on Saturday, March 28th, from 2 to 3 p.m. Additionally, kids can participate in Pokemon-themed scavenger hunt at the Children's Pavilion inside the Advanced Learning Library during spring break. From March 13th through 20th, Wichita's best can help us catch them all. The Big Read is coming back to Wichita Public Library, and we invite you to join us in reading Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude. The author is Ross A. for the 2026 Big Read Wichita. This book of poems focuses on connection, community, and gratitude by emphasizing the importance of nature, gardens, and a grounded view of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. From March 29th through April 26th, we'll host important discussions and events centered around the book's themes. And we will begin a kickoff celebration at the Maya Angelou Branch Library on Saturday, March 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. And that's located near Oklahoma, 21st and Hillside. The Come and Go kickoff event reflects the book's connections to community gardens by highlighting the first phase of construction of the Rise Community Garden at the Angelou Branch Library. Customers can stop by anytime during the event, pick up a free copy of the book, and enjoy self-guided activities, including poetry writing stations, bake tasting, community garden tours, and continuous live poetry readings. Also, during the spring event, you can get 3 garden seeds, 3 packets at the Angelou Branch Library. So if you're a gardener and want some seeds, stop by Angelou. And also, I wanted to mention the Tuesday topics for March 2026. It's going to be held at the Advanced Learning Library. The title is Understanding Immigration. So we invite you to attend on Tuesday, March 24th, from 6 to 7 p.m. in the evening. That's all I have for you this evening. Take any questions you have.
I think it's more of a comment if you listen to audiobooks on the link app, they only get them if like a bunch of people request. So if you want to listen to the catalog of Unabashed Gratitude, which is the big read, you have to ask them. So I already know.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. We also have a suggested items section on our website, so if there's any movie, Blu-ray, book, um, any kind of thing that you find in the library, you like it, just suggest an item, and we'll get straight to our catalogers, and we will certainly consider having that one.
Yes, Mark?
I have a very personal question for you, sir. Do you have a favorite Pokemon? Actually, no, I'm too old for Pokemon. I'm early Gen X, and I actually don't, but I encourage it, and I think it does provide great skills, and it's a fun thing to do, so I highly encourage it.
I'm gonna put in a shameless plug. If you don't have your library card, please, when you go to one of the events, make sure you get it. 3 new versions, right?
Yes,
I select.
library cards.
Yeah. The Wichita, I think we have well, right?
So,
So, yeah.
Skyline.
Look, those two. And what's really cool, and I have a couple residents, and I've asked Jamie that I would love to have a competition in the community sometime. But if you use the library and you get a receipt with every transaction, and at the bottom of every receipt, it tells you how much you've saved if you were to purchase the materials yourself. And it's not just books, it's, audio.
Say thousands
Yes,
and
and
thousands.
so I have a couple people who send me their receipts at the end of every year, but I would like to have a community-wide event where the person in Wichita who saves the most money using the library gets some sort of prize or something. Wouldn't that be cool?
I like that.
And then just on a final note, again, I can't help myself, I'm working really hard to connect childcare and childcare licensing folks with the library so that the childcare providers, early learning providers know what free resources are available to better help enhance their curriculum in their home providing especially. So, yeah, lots of good things that the library can do besides just going to check out books. Yes, sir.
I might also add that if you get the library card, get the key tag.
There you go.
You put it on your keys and it doesn't have your name on it. If you lose them, it will find its way back.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that.
And a quick tip along those lines is once you get a free library card, take a cell phone picture of it. That way, if you forget your key tag or your library card, we will check out to you and you can provide us the library card mark with it.
We should do a district advisory challenge, maybe the first district advisory city to have everybody have their library cards on. What do you think? Okay, I'm in. Let's do it. Thank you, John. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything you're doing. Appreciate it. And next, Park and Rec, and we have John with us virtually. John is the most enthusiastic city employee, I think, that we have.
Thank you for that grand introduction. I appreciate it. Good evening, everyone.
What's your
I'm
favorite
sorry.
Wichita today, John?
I'm gonna have to throw a little a love out to the Mayor Youth Council. Their involvement with our community is amazing. They're big on research and into making an awareness of sustainability, homelessness, and civic engagement projects. So I have to give them a little shout out. And you may have met the Mayor Youth Council mayor at the State of the City as she presented a speech there at the State of the City.
Awesome.
Yes, and then to get us going in our aquatics area, O.J. Watson Park hosted an aquatics facility operators course, which one of our supervisors took and received the AFO certification. And they've started their hiring process for staff by contacting potential candidates and set up dates for the CPR and first aid training. They're also, now that the weather is getting a little better, they're continuing their general maintenance. They've added rounds of inspections to report back to our public works and building services. Additional cracking was observed in our concrete at Orchard Pool on a patch that was installed last spring. Then also our spring class registration began on February 9th. Even though it's already started and been about a month, we still have many classes open for registration for all ages. And if you're ever curious as to what we have to offer, check out our Evolve guide. You can always pick one up there at the library or many of our other city facilities, recreation centers. And then also plug if there's anyone out there that has, a gift that they would like to share with the community and would like to, start a class and become an instructor, they're more than welcome to go to our web page and employment page and apply for an instructor position. And then also in our athletics department, they put a big emphasis on ref recruitment, just to help the sports officials bring more consistency to our leagues coming into the 2026. Since January, we've had 45 new officials fill out forms online, and 24 have confirmed they would like to officiate one or multiple sports. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, we've conducted 7 meetings with 18 different officials to walk them through paperwork and expectations. And of course, as always, I'm going to throw love at Miracle League. The Bowling Miracle League had a strong finish to the season. We celebrated the season at the bowling alley with pizza party and medals. There was a very strong attendance throughout the season, where we saw our largest team count to date, which was 16 teams. We typically had about 55 of the 64 bowlers present each week. And I have to give a great shout out to the Wichita Federal Credit Union. They were a huge part of running a successful season. Each week, they were kind enough to provide 4 volunteers to help record scores and provide a fun and safe atmosphere for the teams. Also in athletics, our spring softball is off to a great start. We currently have 2 more teams, 47 total. That last spring that we had 45. Then Friday co-ed softball maxed out registration for both recreational and competitive divisions 1 week prior to the deadline, with 2 teams still on the wait list. And then over at my rec center, the Boston Recreation Center, we hosted the Wichita Animal Action League on February 25th. They ran their event from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And those that don't know what the Wichita Animal Action League provides, it allows people to come and get their pets checked out by a licensed vet for free. And every time we offer it, the parking lot's really full. And that was the 3rd time that we've partnered with them to provide that out in the Boston Park. And then we also had a special event. And we also had a special event at Boston on February 7th. It was our first city crew event, full steam ahead in 2026. There were about 73 kids and 69 adults that were in attendance. They had the opportunity to go through many stations that involve science, technology, engineering, art, or mathematics. And then also for those that are unaware, we do have our Create campaign inside our facility. And what Create campaign creates is jobs for female-ran businesses and minority-ran businesses to help increase the amount that's in our community. Boston is an incubator site for the culinary world. Although Create campaign does offer, many different professions, they utilize my culinary kitchen for people who are trying to start up, whether it's their own restaurant or whether they're just needing prep for catering. So if there's anyone that knows anyone that's trying to get up and going, be sure to have them reach out to Create campaign, so we can increase those numbers in our community. And then we have our spring break camps coming up. Multiple of our facilities. Boston will be specialty camps where they're theme oriented. Then Linwood, Edgemore, and Orchard are offering our Kids Connection camps during the spring break, and registration for that obviously has begun already. So if you are interested, feel free to reach out to those rec centers. And summer camp registration has also begun. And we created dates to get our staff certified in CPR and first aid, which actually I got my instructor's license. So this will be the 2nd time that I'm training our staff. So that's going to be fun and for me. And then also Boston was a polling location for the emergency election. Our very own Faith on the DAB2 board served as the judge for our location. And as always, she made sure things ran smoothly. And did a great job working with her staff. Let's see here. And then also in the month of February, Boston hosted 24 rentals which brought in about just under $2,000 in revenue. In comparison to last February, we had 16 rentals and about 1,300 in revenue. So we're in the plus compared to last year. So that's always a good sign of that we're increasing our rentals, and that shows that people are aware of what we provide and what we do. And I was fortunate and humbled by being the recipient of the KRPIU Services Professional of the Year Award in Kansas. They highlighted the programming that is done at specialty camps at the Boston Rec Center, my involvement with leading the Mayor Youth Council and civic engagement, and mentioned my 23 years of service with the City of Wichita and Park and Rec Department. Out at Brewer, they hosted the Black Educator Hall of Fame 2026 induction celebration through Janice Thacker and Art That Touches Your Heart on Saturday, February 28th. The event started at 4 p.m. with a reception and opportunity for Black artists from all over the country to share their artistic gifts through their unique creative lenses. With Brewer being the permanent home of the inductees installation, members of the community, family members, and those just visiting get to experience the impact of Black educators throughout Wichita that has inspired and evoked safe space for young people of color throughout their education. We are often recipients of stories that have impacted and continue to impact individuals as they share their experience with one or several of their inductees. At the event, they had over 150 people in attendance, including State Senator Olathe Foss and Godot and Council Member Joseph Shepard. And then moving on to Evergreen Rec Center, they had two food distribution events, both where they handed out 250 food boxes per event, bringing it to a total of 500 boxes that were provided to community. And then also Matt Martinez, who's the director out at the Evergreen Rec Center, is also in charge of our Open Streets ICT events. They're currently started getting in planning mode for both the Open Streets ICT at WSU and the Open Streets ICT at NOMAR. And currently we have 65 vendors registered for the WSU event and 42 vendors registered for NOMAR. And then just like I got an award through the KRPA, our director, Amanda Alessi, out at the Great Plains Nature Center, also is receiving the Wellness Outstanding Professional Award. And the award recognized her for her exceptional dedication and expertise in her field. With over 16 years of service to outdoor recreation, nature education, city parks, and the overall community wellness. Great Plains Nature Center also hosted an event on February 7th, as nearly 500 guests joined us for our Kansas Day celebration. Families were given the opportunity to explore hands-on exhibits, discovered fascinating facts about Kansas wildlife, and connected with nature in a fun, interactive way. And then Linwood Rec Center hosted our second City Crew event of the year. And for those who don't know what our City Crew events are, they're a free program that offer special events just for City Crew members who are signed up. And it's free for those that are ages 2 to 12 and their family. And we offer them every other month. So there's 6 special events that they get to participate in a year. And their theme was the Spy Mission Impossible. Kids got the opportunity to go around from station to station. Their job was to basically solve a decoded message, and they had to go to each station, collect a clue at each station, and then they had to decode all the letters that they were given to figure out what the message was. And then they also got a chance to do a spy obstacle course and laser maze. Which actually we had our biggest turnout that we have ever had at our City Crew events, which was 119 kids were participating in that. So that shows great growth in that that offering that we give out to the public, which is a good sign. Linwood also had Run Wichita hosted its annual Super Bowl fun run at Linwood Park on Sunday, February 8th. 163 runners participated in this 4-mile run through the Linwood Park on Super Bowl Sunday. And then also Linwood Rec Center, along with Orchard Rec Center and their senior centers, are partnering together with the AARP Foundation tax aid program and offering free tax preparation services for participants that qualify, with an emphasis on elderly, low income, and disabled. This program is contracted through the IRS and is being run until April 14th. And then out at Napster Park, the first official event of 2026 for the park will be the Shamrock the Park on March 14th. Applications are coming in for park rentals as well as numerous inquiries. So those who don't know this, that Napster Park is rentable. So if you do want a fun space to use, feel free to reach out in regards to renting out the Napster Park. And then at Watson Park, the CIP work continued in front of the concessions building. We had Farrier, who takes care of the ponies, come out and take care of their hooves. And then at the Ralph Wolves Tennis Center, right now they just started the tennis season on March 1st, so they're gearing up for that season right now. But with all that, that's all I have for you tonight.
Any questions for us? I just want to say congratulations for your Kansas Recreation and Park Association Award. We have a round of applause. Appreciate you so much. And then I'm going to put in a shameless plug. You mentioned the Miracle League. This board has been saying many times. I've been a volunteer for the Miracle League for quite a while. The Miracle League serves some of the most vulnerable residents of our community, youth who are either physically or developmentally delayed, and we have some struggles. And we play kickball, we play softball, we bowl, we swim. Katie, what am I missing? I think that's it. And you will not believe it's for maybe like 6 Saturdays in a row for a couple hours, and then there's a couple months break, a week's break. And I have no athletic ability, I mean none. You don't have to have any athletic ability. You just have to want to go and have fun and want to help these special kids have fun. And I tell people there's 3 target areas that benefit from this. The kiddos who get to participate, and they get a jersey and they get to be on a team, and they just get to have so much fun. The volunteers, for me, it's the highlight of my week every Saturday when I get to go out and I get to be with my buddy. We've been buddies for a while now, and I just absolutely enjoy it. And then the caregivers, who maybe get just a couple hours of a break, and they can watch their kids play and be a part of a team sport. They can participate too, but sometimes my buddy's mom just goes in and gets a cup of coffee and has just a little bit of break on it. So if you have a little bit of time and you want to learn more, please let me know. You can either volunteer, or we're always looking for financial contributions. It's $50 to help a kid through one of the sessions. So if you want to learn more about the military, please let me. Any other questions for John?
I can't let John say how awesome I am, but that's saying how awesome he is, because he makes working aside great. I don't know if anybody has somebody like Jonathan say, but he brings us Starbucks, so. John's the best.
John, you've never brought me Starbucks. All right, thank you so much, appreciate you. And speaking of park, next we have Katie. You Tim's not here, I didn't see him, right?
He just got 6 tonight.
Oh, yeah. She's so pretty, so yeah. Okay, so Katie is gonna talk to us about Imagine ICT, our parks master plan. So Katie, the floor is yours, but first.
Yep.
What's your favorite thing about Wichita?
So I'm Katie Eddy, I'm with the Park and Recreation Department. I feel a bit like a traitor saying this since I'm with Parks, but right now my favorite thing about Wichita is Exploration Place, who we're not affiliated with. They are opening their new adventure playscape this week, and I got to do a member preview with my family yesterday. Really cool, and my 3-year-old son had a great time. So awesome. So right now that's up top of my mind. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about Imagine ICT. This is our master plan process for park and recreation that we're going through right now. The purpose of the plan is to create a actionable and clear roadmap for our park and rec system over the next 10 years. We want to make sure that the plan aligns our investments with our current and future needs, what the community is actually wanting, and not just what we at City Hall decide that everybody wants to see. We want to ensure a responsible and strategic use of tax dollars, improve access, equity, and service delivery across all districts of Wichita, strengthen the long-term financial sustainability of our park system, and provide clear priorities, cost estimates, and phased implementation strategies so that we're not coming up just with recommendations that are pie in the sky, but something that we can actually accomplish with the funds that we have, or identify where we can get the funds if we don't have them. And we are actually working in tandem with Sedgwick County on this. So we're looking not just within Wichita city limits, but within the Sedgwick County limits, recognizing that a lot of the people that use Wichita parks aren't living just in Wichita. They're probably coming from surrounding communities as well. We want to make sure that we're serving all of our users, and maybe reaching out to some people who aren't current park users, but that could be if we targeted them correctly. So what we have done so far, we went through a pretty extensive RFP process last summer, and we selected a consultant, RDG Planning and Design, who's guiding us through this process. We finished the contract with them and got it approved by the city council back in September. And since then, we've put in a lot of work for the initial phases of our plan. So we've formulated a steering committee with a lot of different stakeholders, including staff from both the city and the county, from our park board, from the Parks Foundation, and a few other people as well. So we've met with the steering committee twice already so far. Our next meeting will be in April. Our consultant has interviewed staff. They've done interviews of some stakeholders, done focus groups with teens, with seniors, with the school district, with the YMCAs, just to get a really good picture so far of what park and recreation looks like in our community. They've done a lot of inventorying of our parks, gone out on site to check out the conditions of the parks and the amenities in those parks. They've done research and data collection, benchmarking to see where we stand compared to other similar sized cities across the country. We've held pop-up events throughout the community and held a public open house. And we have done a statistically valid online survey, by mail as well. So our consultant that did the survey sent out by mail to a random selection of households, and made sure that it was representative of every district within Sedgwick County and Wichita. And we did receive back our target sample of 400. We actually received, I believe, about 450 from that random sample. So they're busy calculating those results on that right now. But the same survey is also available online for anyone to take. So the DAB members received a little flyer in front of them. I've got some extra ones back on the table that has a QR code as well to take you to the website, or just the link itself to the website. So the survey is located there. It takes about 15 minutes to complete. You get entered in to a contest to win I believe a $500 gift card across everyone who completes it. It's really, really helpful to have the information. It talks about what your priorities are, different types of amenities, what you think parks provide to the community, a variety of questions that will help us make better decisions. So we ask that everyone completes that. The survey is going to close this Friday. So we're doing a push to get as many responses as possible. Last I heard, we had about 150 respondents besides the statistically valid survey. So we want to get that number higher. That was a couple weeks ago. We might have more since then, but we're shooting for maybe like 300. Yeah. Also on that website, just lots of information. A lot of what I've told you today is on there. The contract, minutes get posted onto there. So just keep an eye on that, as we'll keep updating it as more information progresses. But there's also a live interactive map that you can comment on. It's just a map of the city. It shows where all of our parks are. You can drop a little pin on that map and add a comment, concern, suggestion, anything really, to, again, just another means to get your voice heard about what you might want to see in our parks. So those are the two big asks I have today, are the survey and that map. Over the next few months, we're going to be combining all of this feedback we've gotten, and they're going to give us a report to basically sum up what you, the people of Wichita and Sedgwick County, have said. And then they're going to start giving us recommendations. So that's going to be the exciting part over the next couple of months, is getting those recommendations. You'll see more opportunities for feedback and public engagement over the summer, once those recommendations are published. And then by probably September, October, we'll have a final plan in place. So I'll stand for any questions that you might have about the master plan.
Yeah, any questions? Yes, please.
Yeah, a couple questions. there's a few parks that have no parking available. Has that been addressed in this process?
That's not something I have specifically heard, but I haven't sat in on every single meeting. What I would suggest is going onto that map and pinpointing those specific parks and saying, I would like to see parking here. That way we know someone is concerned about that. So yeah, I agree. As a person with a small child, I don't like to park on the street and have to trek across the country. It feels like to get to the park. So
People don't like
yeah.
driving up in
Yeah.
the park either,
Yeah.
I noticed.
That's for sure. So yes, so definitely point that out. That's something we'd like to hear.
Okay, secondly, how many parks actually have a flooding problem?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know.
Well, that's something that might want to be considered.
Sure.
With the people around the parks.
Yeah.
I only know one, and then the high that's hillside and Lincoln. Flood down there, where you crossing the quick trip. Oh, it's not very nice. Anyway, I just wanted that come up, thank you.
Yeah, no, that one I haven't heard about. I know just from one of my talking points, I know is that parks serve a good purpose for helping prevent flooding. Just with all that extra green space, is that it'll soak up a lot of the storm water and put it back into the whatever's underneath the ground.
Isn't it really great if you could annex all the playgrounds of the public schools, so they would be open to the public?
Sure.
During the hours that school was not happening.
And that is something that I know we have discussed, and something that I've heard early recommendations on is forming a stronger partnership with the school district. And that's something that their team is also interested in exploring. So that's something we're hoping to develop
I'd
in the
like to
future.
form a little
Yeah.
partnership with public schools too on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's beneficial to have the sharing of our resources and our facilities.
In many parts of the country, you mentioned flooding and parks actually designed to be part of the stormwater management system. And to actually, because those spaces cannot be developed for any sort of economic benefit, not being close to home, specific plan is definitely that. Sand Creek Station Golf Course, Newton, Kansas, was deliberately built in part as a flood control measure. And that golf course is right on Sand Creek. It does go underwater, feet of water during high floods there. But it's done in such ways to allow adjacent land to be developed at a fairly high and dense rate.
Anything else for Katie? Oh, yeah, Mark?
Do we have any park deserts in Wichita right now?
Oh, yes, definitely. I can't say off the top of my head. I know down in District 4, I want to say there's a handful of areas that aren't as parked in. Obviously some of the industrial areas, maybe not necessarily a need there, but there's a map. If you were to go to the Trust for Public Land Park Score, that's got a lot of really helpful information about the benchmarking that I mentioned for the top 100 most populous cities. So we're in there, and they produce some great maps that show where parks are, how many areas are within a 10-minute walk of a park, and where those deserts are.
Yes, sir.
How many parks are in District 2?
About 5, I want to say, somewhere on there. Striker is technically in there, but that's like, yeah, it's not really a park. You get kind of weird definitionally what a park is.
You have some land that the park commissioners
Mhm.
own that hasn't been developed yet, that
Yeah.
every developer in town wants to buy.
Yeah.
Holding on to develop a park.
District 2 has the least number of parks.
Yes, we do.
I think primarily because of the outward growth that we keep having, in a lot of HOA type parks.
Has any thought been given to the piece of property north of Central, east of Bristol?
That's
the
right.
one,
That's what I'm
yeah.
talking
One
about.
that is talking
Yeah,
about
yeah, I think seriously, every developer probably was asking
the
about it.
sign that says Bristol on Wild.
The board of park commissioners actually owns that piece of property.
Oh, park commission don't have that.
The park commissioners own all of the park.
The park,
Place for a playground.
the park commissioners own approximately 40% of the
Thank you.
parks.
Thank you.
The park department was created in the 1990s.
Yes.
And then at that point, most of the parks moving forward were titled to the city of Wichita. So it's about a half and half situation.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
It's a very weird situation.
You know your owner then.
The Board of Park Commission.
Yeah.
About half park board and half city, roughly.
Made me think of us mentioning Cottonwood. Was there a need for us to, clean up is the right word, but make the trails inside of Cottonwood more accessible? Because you can walk around it on the big concrete pad, but you almost can't get into the park anymore.
Tracy, can you make us a note and we can check it?
In my excellent minutes, I will.
And your excellent minutes, and I'll tell the board to check into it. Okay, do you have something? Okay, thank you. We're all gonna go and take a survey. I started, it's really easy. I know Tim and Faith were starting it too.
Perfect. Awesome. I appreciate
So we're
that.
gonna
Thank
help
you.
you get to 300.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Share with everyone with your friends. Next is item number 8, zoning 2026 quadruple 03. Samuel, welcome to District 2. Glad to have you from the Metropolitan Area Planning Department. Samuel, help me remember, have you been here before?
Oh, I think I was here back in December, I think.
Oh, okay, it's been a bit then.
Yeah.
Samuel, what's your favorite thing about Wichita?
I'd have to say the sunsets.
Oh,
The what?
that's
The
lovely.
sunsets.
Yeah. Not the sunrises.
No,
Sunsets.
don't like the sunrises, just the sunsets.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, now that we're in a zoning case, what's gonna happen is Samuel is gonna give us a wonderful presentation. The district advisory board will have the opportunity to ask any questions. The applicant will, or the agent, excuse me, will be able to ask any, will be able to come up and give a presentation. The district advisory board members will be able to ask any questions, and then we will go out to the public, and anyone who wants to speak on the zoning case will have the opportunity. And then we will bring it back to the district advisory board for questions from staff or from the applicant agent. So we have to maintain a more structured process and forum for this because it's actual zoning case. This one is a little unusual for us too, board. If you notice, the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission has not seen this case yet. We see it first, which usually is the other way. And either is fine, but usually MAPC does see it before us. So with that, Samuel, take it away.
All right, so zone change 2026-3 is a request from LI Limited Industrial and a small bit of PUD plan unit development number 104 to TF3 two-family residential. It's approximately 100-acre property off North Greenwich Road and 4 mile north of East 37th Street North. The subject site is currently an agricultural field. The applicant has indicated that they intend to use the site for single family and duplex development. Currently in the LI zoning, no residential uses are allowed. It's only for commercial and industrial uses. And the portion of the PUD that is included in this allowed for multifamily residential. But that was just a small portion of the southwestern corner of the site. As seen in the table in the staff report, the zoning standards would change. TF3 two-family residential is generally more restrictive than LI industrial, both in, of course, the uses and within, we'll talk about setbacks, heights, lot width, and so forth. We do not have a specific number of single-family or two-family dwellings that are anticipated. However, a subdivision was provided or submitted to the department. And I do not believe it's been approved as of yet, but I can be wrong about that. And that plat included 192 residential lots. Currently, this area, as you can see in land, is relatively agricultural and developed. If we go down to the zoning map here, properties to the north and west are zoned LI Limited Industrial. Both of those were had a zone change within the last year. And property to the south is zoned PUD number 153, which permits similar TF3 two-family low residential uses. Property to the east is zoned RR rural residential, there's agricultural. I'll note that only the property to the south is within the city, property to the west, north, and east is all within Sedgwick County. This current site is unplatted. As I mentioned, there is a plat that was submitted. Previously in 2017, the zone change was approved from our rural residential to the current LI. And in 2022, a small portion of that was rezoned to the DOD number 104. Site was annexed into Wichita in 2024. And plats were originally submitted in 2022. And this new plat was submitted at the end of last year. As far as public services are concerned, North Greenwich Road is currently two-lane county arterial with open ditches. Municipal services such as water, sanitary sewer, and stormwater would need to be extended. Public utilities did indicate that that there are water pressure issues in the area, and they'll need to discuss with the applicants moving forward on the hydrant flow. As far as conforms to our existing plans and policies, the requested zone change is in partial conformance with the community investments plan, which designates most of this area as new residential. Small portions of the site are also designated as new employment or new residential and employment mix. Therefore, staff felt that partial conformance best fit with our comprehensive plan, given that this is going to now be residential zoning in a primarily residential area. With that, based on information available, planning staff does recommend that the request be approved. And we have not heard any public comments so far on the case. As mentioned, this will be going before the planning commission on Thursday.
And I will not be able to be there because we have pretty kind of strategic planning session, but I'll follow up with staff and go back and watch on YouTube. And for the record, I have received no ex parte communication from the applicant, agent, or community members office. Any questions for someone from the district about this? Okay, Sam, you want to hang tight and we might pull you back up? Next, the applicant agent. Phil, with 5 minutes, think 5 minutes will be enough, or do you need more?
Plenty.
Okay, I will start the timer then. Phil, if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Phil Meyer with Boston Company, agent for the applicant. What we
Favorite thing about Wichita?
Here we go. I can work off of that one if you want. Okay, so we have in front of you tonight is the down zoning from the industrial district to the TF3, which is 2-family. The property to the south here was recently approved as a PUD that's going to be a perfection development. This property here is going to be developed by Ritchie Development. There is a plat on, and this isn't absolute the way it looks, and I can pass it around if people want to look at it, but there is a plat on Thursday at Planning Commission. And our zone changes on Thursday on Planning Commission. They're going together.
They usually don't have the plat when it goes to MAPC, do they?
No, they typically don't, but we've been through the plating process and we've done a preliminary and we've done a final, and our plat will have to stop and stall out till we get the zoning done. Then we have to record that. So we've been through that process. There's 220 lots. I think he'll develop 30 to 50 lots per phase. So this is a 8 to 10 year development over time with that. Don't have a specific use for the 2-family today, but we're leaving the flexibility to be able to do that on a cul-de-sac or two if he chooses to do that. water pressure should not be an issue on single family. So we tried to do, and I drove council member Tuttle nuts with this project a while back with deferral after deferral, but we were trying to do a 20-acre apartment complex up here in this corner. We could not get the fire pressure to work. And the problem was we couldn't get the sprinkler system up to the third floor of a apartment complex. Until such time as the water runs up Greenwich, turns up 45th and goes over to Webb Road, and we get a complete loop there. And that was not an economic situation Wichita was willing to look at, and the developer couldn't afford to do that. So we finally scrapped that 20-acre apartment complex and went back to this single family development. So with that, I'm gonna stop and I'll answer any questions you have. If I left some details out that you feel you need, I'll try to answer.
And you didn't drive you crazy. It's just a process.
It was a painful process for both of us.
So I applaud you trying to put different types of housing in that area, because I think people have different housing needs. Have you thought about doing smaller apartment buildings where it's like 8 to 12 or 16 units instead of like a huge apartment building?
The specific developer that was looking to do that complex had that vision of the 24 units in a building. That was his plan. He does very nice apartment complexes. They're upper end apartment complexes. It's just, we couldn't get the water worked out. He went a long ways in the process. So we had plans ready and everything.
So
Richie Development that's the developer, Richie.
Richie's the developer of this single family. Yes, he's the owner and developer. It will be another extension of their developments.
Jim and numbers.
So Phil, this is getting into the weeds on the engineering here, but there's a tower on 53rd Street up by Northwest. It's a
Yes.
city tower, even though it says Bel Air on it, it's a city Wichita tower.
It's an inactive tower at the moment.
It
They're
is?
not ready to bring it back.
Okay,
online.
that's kind of where I was headed.
Yeah.
And if it's active, can we not go east a mile and then south a mile?
We still need the loop. We still need
Yeah.
the mile between Webb and Greenwich, and then we need to go south.
Attaboy, we tried.
Yeah.
Bruce.
So if I heard you right, this would be homes for 80 to 100 families.
There's gonna be 220 residences inside, platted lots inside the
Oh, okay.
green area,
And
so
it'll be
220.
Wow, that'd be great.
It'll be done in phases of like 40 homes at a time.
Yeah.
So right, 8 to 10 years to develop all the way.
Can't believe we still have enough places for people to live.
No, we have a housing
It's crazy.
shortage, and especially for workforce housing, we have a lot of affordable housing, workforce housing. But I tell people we need all kinds of housing, because we need people who are workforce housing to go up to the missing middle, right? And then we need people from the missing middle to go up to the next phase, so that people can re-enter into workforce housing. So, yeah, we still, depending on who you talk to, have a huge housing shortage of all types of housing, of all levels of housing. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, Phil, if you can hang tight, thank you for doing presentation, appreciate it. You didn't tell us your favorite thing about Wichita.
Didn't it tell you my favorite? So being a landscape architect and spending so many years involved in design council, it's got to be the public art for my answer.
Yep.
Never been spoken, Phil, and I did not put him up to that. Thank you so very much, appreciate it. Now, we're gonna ask for anybody from the public who would like to come and speak on this item to come, and you have 3 minutes. All are welcome. I see none. Okay, we're gonna bring the discussion back to the bench. All of you in front of you have the golden rules of planning. There are 9 different rules. And we ask that when we're having our discussions that we remember the golden rules of planning. And I say this every time when Aaron laughs, but I'll say it again. Our job tonight is not to decide if we like the housing, we like the flooding. Our job is to decide if this is an appropriate use.
I'm gonna get that one right.
Yeah, I know, I say it all the
I
time.
appreciate the reminder.
Yes, we.
That's probably why you do
Yeah,
it.
I'm not saying a word, Bruce, but we need to just keep our focus of, is this an appropriate use of the land? If we like the project, doesn't matter, all of those things, is this an appropriate use of the land for our community? So with that, let's have any discussion, and at any time I would entertain a motion.
Well, like I always say, we have a housing shortage in Wichita. I appreciate the developers including.
Yeah.
Trying to include apartments, but I like the duplexes and the mixed housing. This is gonna go towards that. I think it's an appropriate use of the land, and I would motion that we accept staff's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bruce, for the second. Any discussion? And Stephanie, Neva, and Tracy, anything from y'all?
Call the vote.
I move to take a vote.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and
It's easy.
did we kept everyone still on timeline, right?
Yep.
Okay, last item, economic mobility in Wichita. We have Greater Wichita Partnership and Gardner Design. Welcome this evening. Welcome, welcome. And if you could please state your name for the record and the address that you would like to have on record, and of course, your favorite thing about Wichita. Bye, Phil. Thank you for being here.
Well, my name is Tammy Bradley, and I'm representing the Greater Wichita Partnership tonight. I'm their Senior Advisor for Talent and Workforce Development. And I'm going to ask everybody to kind of stretch and get your head in a different space, because we're not doing a presentation. We're going to ask you guys some questions, and we would like to have your involvement. Is that okay? This is my colleague, Bill Gardner from Gardner Design.
That's your favorite thing about Wichita?
My favorite thing is that I have Bill Gardner as an.
I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. I know. Actually, I was gonna pander and say one of my favorite things. We're taking what we're doing tonight on the road to all the dads. And I appreciate and respect and love that our community has involved community members who sit on dabs, who attend meetings and ask good questions. I'm falling back in love with this process every time we do this. So thank you. Do you have a favorite?
Sure. I'm Bill Gardner with Gardner Design. And, this is the first time that I've had a chance to walk around the Rockwell Library. I'm on the design council. And we look at all of the art that gets proposed to go into these places. And sometimes you look at it and you go, man, really? Is that gonna work? It works fabulously. I think this place is just a gem.
With that, we are here tonight to talk about a topic called economic mobility. And this is a project that the partnership has been working on with the Kansas Health Foundation. And you might ask, why is an economic development organization, which works in jobs and talent, quality of life, partnering with a health foundation? And really what it adds up to is that it's around economic mobility, because if people have access to education and training and jobs and affordable housing and all of those things, their health improves. And I know Councilman Tuttle is very familiar with this concept.
Just thank you.
And so we've been using this term economic mobility in the work that we do with what we call stakeholders. So organizations that provide services for people who need them. Second Light, which is the homeless program on North Broadway. We have Habitat for Humanity, we have Goodwill, we have the Workforce Alliance. We have a lot of agencies working in these areas. We all have a language that we speak when we talk to each other, and sometimes we're not on the same page when we use those terms. Economic mobility is one of those terms. And it really is one that when we work with people who access those services, we really want to make sure they know what we're talking about too. So this is a year or two long process that we'll be working on to develop initiatives and things like that. We're going around and we're asking people how they interpret this word, economic mobility. To set us up, I'd like to ask if we could play this video, and to give you a little background, Bill and his team worked with the Kansas Health Foundation last year with Summer Fest. And we'll let you take that over.
Sure. Actually, Ellen Young is wearing the class of 35 hat out there. So this project. And to give you a quick sense, the Kansas Health Foundation, when they start to take a look at where their funds are going to go, one of the things they want to do is they want to identify those different sectors within the state that really need the funding the worst to improve their health and quality of life. And we put on a event as part of Somewhere Best called Wishwell, where we invited anybody that was there to come up, and instead of asking them what they would do to improve their own life, we said, you know, chances are you know somebody who is in a position where if they had a better quality of life, it would improve their lives. It would improve the lives of others. And if you think about that individual, it might be a relative, it might be a friend, it might be an acquaintance. What would you wish for them that would allow them to have that better value of life? And these are some of the answers and some of the way that this was set up. And this will lead you a little bit into what we're going to be doing tonight. Do you want to go and play that, Teresa?
Yep.
My wish is for everybody to be able to join a supportive and sustainable community.
My wish is that everybody could have access to childcare so they don't have to worry about their children.
My wish would just be for affordable higher education.
I just wish that there was more access to quality, healthy foods in our community.
More startup capital for new businesses.
Anyone who's struggling in the community to have access to jobs, access to food.
For people to have financial education.
Affordable health care and housing.
More affordable health care.
Health care that they can afford.
Access to health care and a livable income while they're struggling.
Definitely secure income.
World peace. For everyone to find peace and joy in their lives.
So we received about 500 different answers during that, and it really opened our eyes to some of those areas we hadn't thought about. And it also
I'm a doctor, and my passion is to alleviate arthritis pain using nothing but natural methods. Can you guess the top 3 foods that I would recommend you to eat? The first one is olive oil. It has a...
I get you. We're going to talk to you about it.
I'm gonna go with the awesome minutes, Teresa.
Talk about olive oil.
But with the answers that we received, it really gave us a sense of those areas that were most critical to the state and that funding could go to. But in particular for this project, I'm gonna try one thing. There's this real quick. Well, no, one of the things that might help to kind of express this a little bit better is if you can imagine for just a minute all of those different entities that service those individuals that are in need of, greater care and greater needs. If you can just imagine, there's probably, I don't know, 30 different organizations that we may be working with. But when you start to imagine the language that they use when they talk to someone, they might all be talking about the same thing, but using different language to express it. And the term economic mobility or upward mobility both sound very a little bit highfalutin and frankly misunderstood by a lot of individuals. So if you can get all of these organizations to start using some of the same language to represent some of the different things that they're talking about, then that gets us to a point where we have a common language that is being used by the different entities. Tammy, do you want to add anything to that?
I don't want to add anything else. I think it's time we ask people what they interpret economic mobility.
Okay. So, papers. So when you think about families in the community and trying to get ahead, what are some of the biggest things that help them succeed?
Access to health and mental health care.
And by the way, I'm taking notes on that laptop magically. So don't think I'm not interested. You want to
You want to go into that just a little bit
Yeah,
more?
so if you are working at an employer that does not provide you insurance of any kind, the marketplace now has gotten so expensive, people are doing without healthcare, and that means people that have mental health care needs. I mean, ongoing needs. I don't just mean like I'm depressed, but like people that struggle with bipolar and those kind of things, they don't have access. And Comcare doesn't necessarily provide those services where you can see a doctor and get the meds you need, get health care, get your annual checkup, well woman exam. You know, there's a lot of things that people do without if they work at an employer that does not provide health care.
You know, that really is just incredibly critical of you now, especially. Other ones? Yeah.
Access to childcare, affordable access to childcare. Families with small children, it's harder to get back into the workplace.
Do you have children?
I do not.
Okay. Yeah, what
I have a lot of pain in this area because I've adopted two unwed mothers. And between mental issues, physical issues, and right or wrong, having kids to go along with that. All these organizations that sound so sweet until you try to get your daughter in one of them, and they have all these rules. So here's a home that this unwed mother, they won't take her off the street unless she's been beat up by a spouse or a boyfriend. Or here's a home where she got in, and in 60 days, you're on the street again. And I have actually seen them kick people out of their homes on the street and still call themselves a minister. And then you have the bigger picture, you've got the feds and all their paperwork and all their rules. And if you mess up one rule, that's it. You got landlords that have their rules. You mess up once, there is no mercy out there. You have there are different sources of income, and let's say because a person cannot physically work, that are supportive, but suppose she does some babysitting and she gets paid for it, then the other organization docks that from the income.
Bruce, what would be a good way to help them succeed?
And I'm gonna smear this all together, and thank you for listening. Sure. Smear this all together, that somehow all these need to come together to have a merciful goodwill towards the client. Yeah, that's all. It's economic mobility. All these agencies that sound great, but have all these rules, if they could have some sort of merciful conglomerate of not accountability, empathy towards these folks that have problems.
So a greater set of goodwill.
Goodwill or empathy towards the client, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have solutions. I'm not going to even try to offer solutions. Everything that said there and said here is true.
Sure.
What bothers me, and I just saw last week the results of a Gallup poll about how members of various societies, 25 societies worldwide, European societies, African American, the United States, how they see people in their society, in their culture, as good or bad. As I recall, only in the United States did a majority of people think that other people in our society lack goodwill. Every one of these other 24 societies, go look, and I'm sure it's about, had a positive, on balance, attitude and perspective about the goodwill of their fellow citizens. Not just political opponents, but their fellow citizens. So this concern about others is lovely, but I think we need to generate a little bit more concern and respect and sense. So I'm getting into really deep systemic issues. It's a cultural thing. We talk a big line about how generous we are as a society, but that's only when we get caught being generous. For the most part, so I'm looking at a little bit more foundational issue here. How do we become a society that is more based on goodwill and accepting a difference and being willing to back it up with organizational efforts rather than individual efforts or smaller institutional efforts and a more comprehensive integral approach to this.
How do you think you're becoming?
I think it's multi-generations of overcoming. Granted, we are individualists. I mean, who came and wrested this land from the indigenous people in their butt? Adventurers, brave people, individuals, high risk takers. It's in our DNA, I believe. But really caring about the long-term success of our entire culture is something that perhaps we could do a little bit better job of.
Sure, anything else, Sam?
Yeah, Tim and I worked on a project a few years ago, and I think Wichita is really great at spending the time and the thoughtfulness and giving the information you need. What we're not good at is implementing things. It doesn't matter what the project is. It could be workforce, it could be economic mobility, it could be homelessness. We spend millions of dollars on project planning, except for when we get to the implementation phase. And I think we are very risk averse in Wichita. Last week's vote showed that. I think we need to find a way to do a better
The
job.
library will be closing in 5 minutes. Please ask for assistance and check out all materials at this time.
I think
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah. A better job of explaining what implementation looks like. Instead of, I feel like people are sick to death of getting feedback and then it just goes into this binder that goes on a shelf. I think people need to hear what implementation looks like, what the future sounds like if we do this. It's just not great at implementation.
You know, I really appreciate that. And I too have felt much of that. But I'll also tell you, working with the Greater Wichita Partnership and Tammy, Ricky Ellison and their crew, man, have they proven themselves over and over to actually act on this kind of stuff. So that's why I feel really positive about this opportunity. Yeah, Tim.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna come back to specific.
Sure.
This I really mucked it up a moment ago. The economic rules of the game, first in finance and economics, and teaching them in grade school up rather than as a class in high school. In terms of personal things, and then sending people out into the world, a very complex economic world, giving them some tools that they can use to help themselves with the dollar bill, with debt, with banks and things.
Building the financial awareness and financial education. Basis.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good, thank you.
I'm gonna jump in.
Thank you, you jump in.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
And I'm gonna step gently on my soapbox. I started my career as a substance abuse counselor and adolescent substance abuse counselor and then women adult counselor. So I've been doing this work for 30 years. And I say almost every day, maybe not that way Sunday, but almost every day. And you all have your choice in income. We call ourselves the air traffic. Right? We have one of the most skilled workforce in the nation. Even our anger industries up here because of our workforce. But what most people don't realize is that 18% of which is functionally illiterate. If we don't work on that issue, then we are not going to be able to maintain the level of skilled workforce that will continue to grow. The number one predictor of adult incarceration is third grade literacy. The number one predictor of third grade literacy. The number one predictor of adult health is third grade literacy. So if we want to do what is best for the community, for people's personal health outcomes, at our community outcomes focusing on third grade literacy. And I'm actually involved in a collective impact project focusing on third grade literacy. But my last comment is again, I say every day, anyone who calls themselves a Wichita should have quality, affordable healthcare, access to healthy food, and health.
It's in the literacy fund, which is come up from this, which makes sense, we say you get all. Jim?
Just have to throw, you know, I'm gonna circle around what she just did. And it's like, it seems like the children in the school today, are being guided by pass them on attitude. It's like, you think about the third grade, wow, you know, and kids, it's like the reading, you know, there's still struggles and the teaching the reading, the math, so many basics. When I talk about like balancing the checkbook and going out and getting, you know, not everybody's going to go to college. Not everybody wants to, nor can, nor needs to, and there are some fantastic things. Really, it could be, I don't know, it's like our education framework, starting with these kindergarten on up through this, the elementaries, planting those seeds, happy to school, planting to get the parents, and somehow, you know, it's amazing how the circle comes back around. Granddaughter-in-laws, teachers, and to hear the stories that you can't discipline the child for this. Parents won't support discipline the children in the schools for this. I mean, it's such a sad circle that we're in today in our education society, and the legal society protects the parents. That doesn't really protect the children so much, or the teachers. And
it's like the uncircle.
It's the uncircle. Good point. Yeah, I mean, it's to me that's a big focus. That somehow this money wheel has to stop. It has to get rerouted in somehow. And it's, and again, a little basic thing you read, it still is amazing the numbers you hear about in terms of the kids that get passed on through these grades that can't read. That really just help.
You know, I was talking with Kelly Bielefeld earlier today, and he shared with me some statistics, which one in particular just really struck me, which is that Wichita, there's approximately 20% of the population that's below the poverty level. That within USD 259, there's 20% of those children that are above the poverty level. It's 80% that are below the poverty level. So, I mean, that kind of gives you a sense of, you know, some of the challenges that USD 259 has to deal with. And again, they're doing a great job. Like, go ahead.
And the unity of the aircraft capital of the world.
Sure.
You know, there's all these Boeings, there's Textron, all these people still looking to hire 500 more people and 300 more people and so on and so forth. And back to wages, and people offering part-time work with no insurance or this and that instead of, you know, hiring people. I will say one thing, Textron Aviation has done a fantastic job of starting up their training center of getting people out of high school, you know, junior, seniors, bringing them through the training program. They come out of there and, you know, the company for you, that give them a bonus salary thing to start with, and you're there. They teach them how to make this for an engine and wing for us. You know, they go online, they make them, and you're there 9-10 months, and you know, if you do good, if you want to go to, we'll pay for 2 years of college toward your getting your A&P license if you want, various things. If they find a guy that's dedicated to it and wants to do it. And yet, too, they struggle. I was talking to a friend the other day. He said, you know, we may have 100 applicants that are filled out to come in for interviews to get in the program. And he said 50% of them actually show up. The other 50 don't even show up with a full application. Of that 50%, it was like 28% can't pass the drug test. And so there's this society element that, you know, it's just, I don't know, it is a very sad.
We have a lot of barriers.
Yeah. One of the
People
better
being
things.
successful, whether it's access to nonprofits because there's a million hoops, trying to start work when.
How many of us would pass a drug test if we just had everybody take it right now? Something's gotta change. I would too, but you know, and I know that these folks that are not experiencing the economical, what? Development.
Economic mobility or
Yeah,
mobility, yeah,
They're
it's
not
it's
experiencing that.
confusing you as it is me.
They're the same ones that out of desperation will self-medicate.
Don't have access to
And
transportation.
so you make them go through a drug test, you can't be a policeman, you can't be a fireman, you can't. On and on it goes, you can't have a good job at aviation, something's gotta give.
If we weren't using, and this is gonna get to the kind of the core of this, and first of all, boy, you guys hit on just about everything possible there. But all of them, no, really, when you think about it, all of these are, you know, something that compound an individual's challenges to move upward or to improve their life. When you start to think about these organizations that serve them and the language that they use, obviously, and I know that Becky has a particular passion for second line as do we, but you know, kind of have the multi-agency center where people can come and they can expedite their needs because they have multiple people there that can help them through their challenges. When we start to think about these different organizations and when they're speaking to that individual, and if we want to make it as easy as possible for that individual to understand what services and what's being offered, and those individuals that talk to them there need to speak in language that isn't above that individual, that isn't challenging for that individual to understand. So I'm going to shift your mind for just a second here. I want you to think about the terms economic mobility or upward mobility. They're astute, but let's start to talk about terms that might be used when we talk to somebody about improving their life that would ring with them, that would ring true with them. What are some phrases? I'll throw out a couple of thoughts here just real quick. Getting ahead, stability, opportunity, building a better life, breaking cycles, financial security, thriving families. Help me out. What are some of those phrases or words that we can use when we speak to the individuals or we speak generally about economic opportunities that are a replacement for that? I'm sorry, go ahead, Jim.
Join the military. Give us 6 months. But I mean.
I think maybe like, it's not, I mean, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say it's not.
Get out there on that limb.
The language that we're using when we speak to people about getting ahead is not the issue. It's the lack of, if you just take justice involved individuals, the lack of access to housing and employment. There's a billion barriers that they have to overcome, and we need more employers and more landlords to provide that access. If you serve your time, why are we creating so many barriers? We are one of the most incarcerated, we are the most incarcerated nation in the country. So when you serve your time, you get out, you still can't find a job, you still can't get housing. Where does that lead?
Yeah.
Efficacy.
Yeah.
In all ways, shapes, and forms, but efficacy, and it's highly individual or at least family oriented, but what enables one person psychologically, financially, educationally, physically, transportation, whatever, to get ahead is completely different.
Sure.
For the next person. But what ties it all together is this lack of efficacy. Whether it's a good paying job or the ability to get a decent paying job. Or to learn to look for that job. And it goes back to my comments on financial literacy. That's a lack of efficacy. For great reading, efficacy. I'm looking for something to tie it all together, because every time I start at a point that somebody's talking about, oh, this is great. If we fix this, we'll fix that. The closest one so far that we've discussed tonight was for third grade literacy.
Bruce, were you getting ready to say something?
Oh, yeah, I was. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Second lady, and yeah.
Faith?
Oh, Faith.
Faith?
Thank you. How can I forget that? I can't read.
I was appalled.
So when Faith said that, if we're gonna show up, we've got to show up with more than I'm gonna help. You show up and you have something in your hand. Now, is that what you're talking about, efficacy?
Yes.
A genuine, so you meet somebody on the street, you can give them, here's a key. You need a ride, I'll take you over to where it is. That's efficacy.
So efficacy is sense and the ability to do something. So when I'm hiring people, right, I focus on character more than skill set or education, but character. Those other two are secondary. But then I want to match you to the job. I want to train them up best I can, and I want to provide everything they need to get their job done, the training, the right environment, both psychologically and physically, the tools they need, the processes they need to be successful, the permissions they need to be successful, the sense that in their own minds that they can be successful in that role. Those are all examples of efficacy. All right.
Tim, I love that word there. I'm going to try and guide the conversation a little bit different direction. And by the way, I'm anxious for anybody here who wants to participate in this to join in the conversation. It's not just for the peer. When we start to think about this and we put some kind of a title or a tagline or a name or the likes to what we're doing here, I'm going to give a quick example. A number of years ago, you may remember a campaign that was run by the Kansas Health Foundation, which was called Take It Outside. Got it? Yep.
I got word on it.
Did you? Take It Outside was a great campaign from the perspective of it was asking people that were smoking indoors, whether it was sort of secondhand smoke that their family or their children or others were consuming, to go outside if you're going to smoke. One of the things that was said there in that simple phrase of take it outside, it wasn't throw your cigarettes away or quit smoking, or it wasn't you're going to die. It was basically saying in a very simple way, be respectful of others and understand that your habit has an influence on them. So take it outside says a lot of things. And people understood it, it was really effective. So as we start talking about the challenges here, and we are trying to serve those folks that need that service the best, I want you to think about, if you would, phrases or things that you might say. I'm not looking for speeches, because we've now kind of heard your thoughts in terms of many of the challenges that are out there and things that could be done. But I'll use one that's been around forever, which is giving somebody a hand up, not a handout. But I'm looking for those words or those phrases that you might associate with a phrase that will help people understand that an organization is there to offer them that opportunity to have that better life. I know it's a little challenge.
Access is a very simple word.
Yeah.
It's very common.
And that means a lot. Tell me more.
Faith brought up the word barrier. I feel like a lot of the community that this is discussing faces a lot of barriers. So like a simple word like access would be very good.
Like that. I know we've heard that. Yeah. What were we gonna say then?
It's a good job.
Yeah. Other words, phrases, what's a phrase that helps to kind of clarify the idea of an organization trying to help another individual or trying to give them the ability to help themselves?
You know, we also have a circle that we
Sure.
send out, people want to think about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The library did close.
You're all in it. That's what you're saying.
And I'll mention this before, nobody's trapped, but this would be a fun place to be trapped. There's a fun game, there's the Huggy Squishy tube, there's all the things you do. Yeah, there's a fireplace. We will exit out this door. We're gonna exit out this door, but in case anybody sneaks out before, if we all go out together, there's a light out there, and we do have daylight savings time, but I imagine it's dark up by then. You do have to step down, so be very careful. There's a step. There's a light out there. It's pretty good, but just, there's a step. Thank you so much.
The Greater Wichita Partnership has put together a survey, and I think you can find this is pretty easy to both access and address. And we also are going to set a sheet over here at the table so that anybody in the audience can address it. But if we could encourage you, take a moment, write us a few of your thoughts. And you've just been very courteous in letting us spend the time with you this evening. And I think that you've all had some really, gee, I want you to represent me. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. That concludes, unless, Bruce, are you okay if we just maybe re-emphasize via email the information about the sirens?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Worry about it next time.
Okay, don't worry about it next time.
Hopefully more will be prepared by then.
Yes, awesome. Okay, seeing no other reports, updates, our next meeting is Monday, April 13th. Looking forward to it. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Bye. See you next month. Thank you, board members. Thank you, guests.